Hey guys, good morning and welcome to another episode of Father's Fire. My name's Judie Sedrick, and every week we get together to explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. And I tell you, you guys know it is a continual moving target the last couple of weeks as we've dealt with Corona, which has created some very unique opportunities for me and my kids because everybody's home. And so we're battling that. Let's figure out how we're going to be sequestered together and have fun together and not kill each other. No, it's actually been great. So, but I have a phenomenal guest. His name is Jonah Gomez. Welcome, Jonah. I'm super excited to have you on board.
Thank you.
So let me make a little bit of introduction. So Jonah Gomez, he and I have been connected through the detailing industry world. But I love his Instagram because he has a couple of them. He has Detailpreneurs, and then he has one called Vision, Hustle, Grow. And what I like about that one is your profile because it says father and husband, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and travel addict, which I could do the same thing. That could be my profile because and I love that father and husband is the very first thing that you list.
Yeah. It's like I told you, at the end of the day, that's what I am. It's who I am. It's what makes me keep going every day. I have a beautiful wife that I've been married to for the last 2.5 years. Been together for the last 7 years. And we have a beautiful 21-month-old daughter who is my everything. And this is the coronavirus right now is definitely testing our love for our daughter. And instead of it kind of distancing us, if anything, it's bringing us more together and just enjoying this time because this time is something that we'll never get back.
Yeah, 21 months. I mean, that's a new dad. That's completely new territory. So let's talk about what that experience has been like for you going from, having a nice solid relationship with your lovely wife, and now all of a sudden you're bringing a little baby into the mix. How has that change been for you?
So it was, to be honest, when we got married, we were not expecting to become parents right away. We thought that we were going to have a little bit of time to kind of, enjoy that honeymoon stage. And let's just put it like that. It just happened right after our wedding.
Surprise!
And yeah, it was a surprise to say the least. But one thing that her and I, we promised each other was that we weren't going to allow it to change, who we were and kind of what we enjoyed doing. We were just going to have somebody else join us, which is our beautiful daughter. And, if you go on our social media, if you go on Vision Hustle Grow, you'll see that we love to travel. That's one of the things that we love to do. And that's something that I promised myself and I promised my wife I would not change for anything. So she's 21 months old. She's been to Costa Rica, Colombia, Mexico, Dominican Republic. She's been to, I think, over 10 states already. So it's something that we will not allow us to change. Now, are there sleepless nights? Yes, but it's well worth it. And everything that we do, I mean, everything. Last night, my wife and I were up until midnight building this ideal kitchen for this little kitchen that we got for her. And, when you're tired, but when you think what you're doing it and who you're doing it for, nothing matters. And that's why for me, being a father is the best title and being a husband is the best title that I can have because yeah, I'm an entrepreneur and I have businesses, but nothing beats being a dad and a father.
So what has surprised you most about being a dad?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is that I think we undervalue like stay-at-home moms. That's because I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Like what surprised me the most is the fact that, like my wife, how she's given up so much to be able to care for our daughter. It's something that I'm very passionate for and very appreciative. The love that we have, and understanding that it takes a village to raise a kid. It's hard. So one of the things that I've enjoyed most is just the time watching them grow, seeing them crawl to walking to now she's talking, seeing their personality. So as far as challenges, I think, I come from a pretty big family. So I have 3 sisters and 1 brother. So it's 5 of us. So I'm very big on family. The family for me is, what I am. And that's something that I will never change. And I love it because at the end of the day, like I tell people, friends always come and go, but family is always going to be there. And that's something that I do, truly value.
Yeah, I myself come from a big family. I'm the oldest of 8 kids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we have 6. So we had 4, and we actually had the blessing of not being surprised at our honeymoon. And we had 4 years together
Well, we didn't even
before we
make it
had
to our
our
honeymoon.
yeah. So we didn't have our first kid until 4 years into our marriage. And that was really nice because we had those years to really kind of grow as a couple. Um, but I don't think it's good or bad. It's just different, right? And
Yeah.
so when we finally had our first son, Devin, we were really ready. And, my wife is from a small family. It's just her and her brother. And
Okay.
so when we first had Devin, she's like, Jody, I don't even know what to do. I'm not too sure about this. But, being the oldest of 8, my parents always said, look, Jody, you got to change the diapers. You got to care for your siblings. And so that wasn't foreign to me. So fortunately, we had that balance of each other. But it's still having that newborn baby really changed the dynamic. And I think one of the nice things that I hear that guys have done is you've included your daughter
Oh, yeah.
in all of your travels and all of your thing. And Judy and I did the same thing, but we also made a cognizant decision that we were also going to have weekends, or even once a year, we would take an entire week, just me and her.
That's
Um,
good though. You need that.
and I think you need that because I think a lot of times it's easy to get consumed by your kids and lose you as a couple.
Yeah, that's a great point. That is a great point because you have to always constantly be nurturing your relationship with your significant other, and you always constantly have to be, um, growing and understand that you have to put work into it. One of the things that we do now with like COVID, for instance, since we're here, my parents and sisters, they don't live too far from here, so on the weekends we'll take her on Saturdays during the day so that she doesn't have to stay overnight, and she'll spend the day with grandma and grandpa, and we'll do things like that we want to do here at home so that we're able to spend some time, even if it's just lounging around, taking a naps, like just little things that we're not able to do because we don't really like to just put her in front of a TV. We're always trying to stimulate her, give her
Yeah.
books, give her different activities. So I mean, the only time we really have her watch TV is if we're cooking dinner or something like that. But we're always trying to be active and understand that between 1 and 3 is when kids really grow, and
Yeah.
so they need that nurturing, they need that love, they need that focus. And we briefly put her in daycare for a little bit, and we ended up taking her out, and my wife's done a phenomenal job. And I'm trying to teach her Spanish because I'm fluent in English and Spanish. So yesterday she said nariz, she said cabeza, she
Yeah.
said boca, like she said different words. And for me, like those are like the rewards that I feel that are well worth anything, like way
Yeah.
more than outweigh anything. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Well,
fun being a parent.
and I love that you're trying to keep that cultural heritage in your family, right? Because I know my wife's Filipino, and it was always fun when we would go to her house because in our house, Judy never spoke Pangasinan, but man, when she got around her mom, they would engage. It would just come naturally to her, right?
Yeah.
And I know that when we brought our children from Haiti, Ashton and Jessica, I it was a number of years in the process of adopting before they actually came here. So I actually taught myself Haitian Creole
Oh,
in
wow.
preparation for them to come, right? And so, which was great because we had this bridge of me being able to speak enough to really create a bridge between our two families and really blend them. And it was really interesting because I'll never forget, it was in May. We got them February 1st, and it was in May. So what's that? March, April, May, 3 months later, Ashton was doing something that he shouldn't have been. And I was getting on to him in Creole saying, look, man, pas fait ça, don't do that, right? And he's like, why are you speaking to me in Creole? I speak English now. And from that day forward, he's never spoken Creole again.
Wow.
And it was really, I'm like, wow, it happened so fast for him, but he made that. But I really wanted to make sure that he still had that connection, but allowed him to make the choice of what he was going to do. So
You asked me earlier, what's one thing that's kind of like surprised me is how much sponges kids are.
yeah.
And how much they can learn things, from 1 second to the next. Like, we're really cautious about what we say. We make sure we don't curse around her or anything like that. Make sure that she has her, yes, thank you. She says, you're welcome. Yes, please. If you ask for something, instead of, crying and pointing, let's use our words. And yeah, she's only 20 months old, but the thing is, kids, they will test your boundaries. And it's important for you to just know that what you're doing is, trying to just educate them so that when they get to a point, because it may be a point of no return where they're just so used to set in their ways that a lot of people are surprised by her. But I think that has to do with a lot of the traveling that we've done, to be honest with you, because she gets outside of her normal element. And when we went to Dominican Republic this past Christmas to spend time with our family, she came back speaking Spanish. She came back much louder than before. So I think that's a Latin culture in her. Motorcycles, if she hears one now, she says motor, motor, because in Dominican Republic, there are a lot of motorcycles. So it's just fun seeing them grow and develop. I mean, that's my favorite part, from, being in your arms to now being independent and roaming the house to, I don't even want to think about it when she leaves the house. I may cry on here.
Well, and I love that you guys are exposing her to that travel and those cultures, because I mean, there's so much beauty in people, in cultures, in opportunities, right? And so, I mean, that I remember, when prior to deciding that we were going to adopt, Judie and I always knew we were either going to foster care or adopt. And my wife was volunteering at the orphanage down there in Haiti, and my son wanted to do something for the school. So he said, hey, do you mind if I do like a shoe drive? Because they have to have shoes to go to the school, and they need book bags. So we actually, for his Eagle project, did a shoe drive and made all these book bags for him. And then he came to me and said, hey, would you mind if I took these down to Haiti with mom? And I'm like, well, I tell you what, I said, I want you to be focused on the real purpose of your project. That's to help the kids. But if you earn half the money for the trip, then you can go with mom. So man, he buckled down, and I mean, he kicked his project out of the park, and he earned the money to go down there. So he and Judie, I mean, they took it was huge. It was like 26 big totes of shoes and supplies, and shipped them down, and took them down to the Sion de Foyer orphanage down there in the school. And what was really cool was when he came back, we were sitting back here and just sitting down, and he goes, Dad, I never realized we were rich. And he goes, I go, what do you mean? He goes, to go to Haiti and see what a massive difference it was in Port-au-Prince than it was here in Boise, Idaho. He goes, I had no idea that we as a people are rich, and we as a family are rich, and we're middle-class America, right? But from a world standards, we are truly, truly rich, and we are truly, truly blessed. And it really touched his heart in a way that I could have never touched that portion of his heart without him having that exposure and the opportunity to travel and serve other people.
Yeah. And that's, I love that you said that, because, and I'm sure you got that from the way you were raised as well, because Like for me, for instance, what was it, about 3 or 4 years ago? And my sister, she has actually a nonprofit organization where she gives back to Dominican Republic. It's called Play for More. She loves sports. So she gives back to lower income communities, impoverished areas in Dominican Republic by donating. But it was 3 years ago, we went to Dominican Republic. And one thing that my mom said, and this is something that I always hold truly to my heart, is for Christmas, we're not getting gifts. Instead of getting, we're going to be giving. So what we did was we went to Dominican Republic and we took a bunch of stuff and we went to orphanage homes. And if I tell you that was the best Christmas of my life, that I didn't receive anything, the gift of giving was way more than the gift of receiving. That was the greatest memory of all time. I saw the kids happy, kids that were, going around tearing up just for like a little teddy bear that a lot of kids here in the States would take for granted or not want because they want the latest iPad. And one of the things I tell my wife is that I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose traveling to Dominican Republic. I don't want to lose traveling to like all these different regions, because it really shows how blessed we are here. If you make over $40,000, you're in the top 1% of what the entire world makes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we always want more and more and more, because we live, here where we're consumers, whereas in Dominican Republic and in Haiti, it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. So, just for me, I feel that giving back is just kind of like my way of trying to make a difference in the world and impact in the world. And that has I rather be rich. That's my wealth. If I can give back, I want to be wealthy and giving back, not monetary, financially. I do need money, obviously, to send clothes and buy airfare. But if I could give back, Jody, I'm telling you, that's all I would do. That's all I would do, because I love it, because seeing someone smile because of something that they may not have had is the greatest gift you can have.
Yeah, it really, the opportunity to serve and lift people up, that in itself is phenomenal. But when you can do it with your kids, it is next level. It's funny, a couple weeks ago, my second son, Christian, he came into me and he goes, Dad, I want to thank you for teaching me how to work. And I'm like, what? And he's saying, it was totally caught me off guard. He said, because he goes, everywhere I've worked, I've always been promoted because I know how to work. But what I really appreciate is one experience where we went to a neighbor's house that they needed a shed torn down and a new shed rebuilt. He goes, I loved that experience of going and tearing that building down. I mean, it was a shack, and then building it back up together. He goes, that was one of the greatest experiences of my life with you. And I honestly had forgotten about it. But it was an experience that he had working side by side with me and serving
forever almost.
somebody else that touched his heart, and it touched his memories.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's really one of the things, like and I'll be honest, not to get too into it, but my wife and I, we kind of came up from different situations. She grew up without a father. And her mom is so strong. She raised 3 kids, one of them with Down syndrome. And I really commend her for the work that she did, because she raised, a great daughter. But one thing that I told her before we got married is that I promise to have you live that time that you missed as far as a father by how I'm going to be with our daughter or our son, And that's something that I really hold myself accountable for, because she wasn't able to enjoy that when she was younger. And for me to be able to give the love and, the endless love to my daughter and to my wife is something that doesn't cost you any money. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is love is free. And, we need to be spreading love, especially in a time like this. Instead of hate, we need to be spreading love. And that's for me, that's what it's really about, is treating others with kindness. It's making sure that, you love one another, and that at the end of the day, we have to understand that we're one human race. And that's something that, for me, I hold really dearly to my heart.
Yeah. I think a lot of men struggle with either that they didn't have a good home to start with. Maybe their dad was missing, or, he was either missing because of a divorce, missing because he was working all the time. And they struggle with knowing how to really build from today and change their legacy
Forward. Yeah.
and I think if we just realize that your past doesn't define you, yes, it may give you a foundation to start from or a foundation that you want to change, but you can be fully engaged as a dad. You can be fully engaged as a husband. You can break the broken chain that has been the legacy in the past and create a new chain that
Yes.
will extend in the future and set a legacy for your kids that they will cherish and they will build on. And you can change the destiny of the kids and the wife that you have today. But you have to make a decision to go, I'm all in.
Yep.
I'm 100% involved. I'm 100% engaged. I
Yep.
am going to be the man that you need and expect and the
Yeah.
father that you've hoped for.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like, like I told you, I do a lot of motivational speaking, and you can use this in any terms, fatherhood, business, whatever. But one thing that I don't do is I don't look at my past, because I'm looking behind, and that means I'm going to crash if I'm trying to walk forward. Focus on what's ahead of you. Don't focus on what's behind you. Because what's behind you is in the past. It's not going to help you determine your future. And so, like, for me, like I've even like the people that I surround myself with, I want to make sure that they're family oriented. So that if my daughter's around, she can hang around with other people. The friends, I've had to even cut some ties because, I have some friends that have had kids and they have completely like been disappeared from their life. And I'm like, if you don't care about your kid, how do I know you care about me as an individual? That's your own flesh and blood.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's just like I really do hold that to my heart, and the people that I do surround myself with, because I like taking trips with families. I was just out in Phoenix with one of my buddies from grade school. He had a daughter, and I said, hey, let's do this. That way, we have the same values, we have the same vision. We may have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, we love our family. We put family first, and that's what it's about. You are a product of your environment in anything you do, business, parenting, whatever it is that you do in life.
So let's talk about what do you wish you would have known as a young father? And maybe, so yeah, let's go there. What do you wish you would have known? And then what are one or two recommendations that you would give to young fathers?
That's a good question. What do I wish I would have known? That's really good. I did a lot of research and I did a lot of reading before becoming a parent. So that's an advice. I did a lot of reading. I spoke to a lot of parents. I spoke to all different types of parents. Like I told you, some of the friends that had kids that they don't talk to, and people that have kids who are part of their everyday life. So for me, what I would say is, as a young father, something that, what do I wish I would have known? This is a good question, Jody. Maybe more about insurance. More about insurance, because here's the thing though, as far as like the love and the caring part, that's something that I've been looking forward to. I've been looking forward to give that love to somebody, to that child. So as far as that, I didn't have a problem. As far as disconnecting from work and those things, that's maybe like something that I can maybe improve a little bit on. And I think after this whole COVID thing, I'm really gonna like separate, because I'm consumed. I have a bunch of different ventures, right? It's not just one business. So one thing that I wish I would have known maybe is to how to disconnect easier, from work, from your phone, from social media, and actually give that time. Yeah. And make sure that you're devoting that time to your child, that you're not there on your phone like this. What do you need? Okay, go get your water. No, making sure that you're actually there.
Yeah.
And how do you do that at first? Because our lives change, regardless of what you want to say, our lives do change. So a quick story is that when we had our daughter, we had her at 1 a.m. So that meant we could stay an additional 48 hours, but we had got there during the day. So long story short, the doctor comes in and she's like, well, you can go home or you can stay an extra day, depending. And I looked at my wife, I was like, what do we do with this? Like, I have no idea. I've never changed diapers. Like I've never done any of this. And I was like, yeah, we'll stay an extra day. And when we took her home, we figured it out. It's nothing that's scary. It's all about the mindset that you have. If you are looking at this as a negative, well, it's going to be terrible. But if you're looking at it as a positive and you're looking to embrace the change that comes with having a child, you will be okay. That's what I can say, that you will be okay. Don't listen to people that tell you that parenting is hard or anything like this. It is a little bit difficult, but at the end of the day, it's your child, it's your blood, and nobody's going to care for it. No one's going to nurture it. No one's going to love it as much as you and your wife.
I love the way that you said, you know what? I'm not quite sure how to change diapers, but we're going to figure it out.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And I love that, because I think a lot of times we try to throw things just on the wife, or we just try to throw other things on ourselves instead of going, we're going to do this together. And that's what I still remember, when Judie and I were getting ready to go, because we're like you, we had him at exactly midnight. So we got to stay the 48 hours. And I was so grateful for that time, because it gave Judie time to just be in a bed, to recoup and all that stuff. But, I remember she's like, this is real. We got a baby. I go, it doesn't matter. We're going to do it together.
Yeah.
Right.
And
We're going to go
I
ahead.
like that you say that and it's teamwork. And like, I'm the furthest thing from like this whole macho, like, oh, that's like a woman's responsibility. Like, that's not like, it's you and I. And
Yeah.
I will say that I have to thank my wife for that, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm in a meeting. She's like, I don't care. Change the diaper. And it's like, all right. It's like, all right, cool. I'll change the, I'll change the diaper. So it's a teamwork thing. We at night, I'll give her a bath. She puts her to bed. Stuff that it's both of us. It shouldn't be my wife's responsibility 100%, because being a stay-at-home mom, and for any of you dads that think it's easy, I challenge you for a week to stay at home with your child with no help from your significant other, and let me know how you do.
Yeah, Caleb Valle, the guy that I interviewed last week, they actually decided that he was going to be a stay-at-home dad and she was going to go to work. And
Oh,
I love that we live in that kind of environment where we can decide how we're going to work together as a team. And sometimes those traditional roles may need to change based on your personality, your personal need, or whatever. And just going, you know what, we're doing this together. We're building a family together.
real quick, you said earlier, what would I recommend? I would recommend having difficult conversations with your significant other prior to having the baby. So like during and the reason why is because a lot of these difficult conversations happen when the baby has arrived. And sometimes it can be challenging, and you may see that you have different perspectives on how you're going to approach different things. So for me, one of the things that my wife and I did, even before we found out that she was pregnant, was talk about, okay, well, how are we going to handle this situation? How are we going to handle this situation? And so forth, because communication in anything you do is one of the most effective things. And that's what's going to eliminate a lot of headaches and a lot of mistakes. So if anything, one of the things that my wife and I do is we over communicate to make sure that we are not stepping on each other's toes, making sure that we're not doing something that, she may not appreciate, that and so forth, because we have to communicate. That's the only way we're going to be able to do this. You see it in anything, that when you communicate effectively, you get a lot more things done.
I love that, man. Well, I'm super excited that you came and decided to be my guest, because
Appreciate it.
I love that. And I think about fatherhood all the time. I literally do. It's like, how can I be a better dad? And how can I help my young sons become men that their wives are going to appreciate and they're going to, love and cherish. And I think a lot of times, and maybe this is a generational thing, because I saw it more in my dad than in me and you, is that there are so many things that I need to learn from men on both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I are significantly different in age. My youngest, you could probably be my son, right? My youngest kid's 18. My oldest is 26.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
So, but what I'm learning is that we're all just trying to be good men. We're all just trying to be fathers. And if we can't bridge the gap between each other, how the heck are we going to bridge the gap with our kids, right?
Yeah.
And so we really need to do an effort, a more concerted effort of bridging the gap between each other and having these kind of discussions where it's like, man, what did you learn? So it's always a fun adventure, visiting with people. So
Yeah, and I want to thank you for this, because this is awesome. I mean, I think this is great because some guys are like, "Oh, I'm a man," and it's not about that. It's about being a father, and it's about having fun. And this is something that I told you. I mean, it's funny you said that because I completely forgot about what I had in my bio on my Instagram, but I just do it so naturally that that's just what I am. And we've had these talks before about being more than just what you do in life and what your career is, because at the end of the day, that shuts down. I mean, this is a perfect example, with the whole COVID thing going on and my business shutting down. That's not what I am. Me being at home with my daughter and my wife, I am the husband and the father, and that's what my responsibility is. And there's no better example than what's going on right now. You can't control any of these external elements. You can't control the love that you give to your wife and your daughter.
Yeah, it's funny because I think one of the great opportunities that COVID has given us is to actually be at home with our families, which is ironic because before then we were all going, oh, I need to schedule time with my kids. I need to schedule time with my wife. And now we're actually in the house all the time. And hopefully you're not like some men going, who are you?
Yeah.
You're really my kid? Hopefully you already have the foundation where it's like when your kid comes up and says, hey, Dad, can we play Monopoly or can we go do an art project? It's not like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing everything with my daughter. I mean, we're having tea time. She has a little tent over here that's set up where we go inside and we read her books. She loves like singing. So we got her like a little microphone with singing. But anything to try to keep her away from like the TV and an iPad. Like I really try. Like that's like the last resort for us. Like if we have to, like if we're doing something. But these are moments that you have 18-year-old, 26-year-old. I mean, think about it. You can't just hold them in the arm, like get them out of the bed anymore. Like these are times that I'm not gonna.
Oh, I do.
Oh, that's 26. Here's the bottle. These are times that are gonna pass, and I mean, you see how fast they grow up, and I mean, she's about to be 2 in June. Yeah, June, and so it's just something that we need to really enjoy, and we need to be thankful for, because when this is all said and done, we're all gonna go back to work, and we're gonna miss the time that I mean, me personally, I think I'm gonna miss the time that I spent with my family, and I'm kind of reassess how I do things. I'm instead of because sometimes I'll be at the shop until like 7, 8 o'clock at night. Well, you know what? Now it's 5 o'clock. It doesn't matter. It's family or business, and for me, that's really an easy decision, and it's family. Like I decided to do this whole thing of entrepreneurship because of the freedom. And it was the freedom so that I could spend that time, not with, friends or whatever, it's with my family. And if friends want to join with the family, well, then we can all be one big family. But if you don't want to spend time with my family, then I don't need to be associating myself with you, because my family is my top priority.
That's awesome. I love that. Wisdom from the young Jonah Gomez, man. I love it. So thank you so much for being my guest. I've loved the conversation. So guys, please go out and check him out. You can find him on Vision Hustle Grow on Instagram. You can also check him out on Detailpreneurs. He's got his hands in a little bit of everything because he's trying to impact everybody for good. I mean, and that's the thing that I love about you is that you're just like, you know what? I want to serve and love people. And most importantly, I want to serve my family. So
and that's what it's about. Like I said, if you have a vision and you hustle, you'll always grow. And whatever vision that is, whether that's business, being a great father, just make sure that you don't let anybody derail you from what you're trying to do. And, giving love to your wife and your daughter is absolutely free. So don't let money come in the way of that, and make sure that you share the love. And thank you once again for allowing me to be on your podcast.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you. And you guys that have tuned in with us every week, thank you so much for joining us as we explore the joys, the challenges, the triumphs, the sorrows, and yes, the fun of being a dad. go do something fun this week with your kids. Take some time and really get engaged, really be involved with them and make that connection that will last a lifetime. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Make sure to check out the rest of the Speak Fire family, and we will check you same time, same bat channel. See ya. Thank you. All right, man. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
No, of course. I love it. I mean, this is